So I'm talking about how yoga in all of its aspects can help us to understand more about the digestion, and then we're able to take action to help it work more optimally, if you like. So in the last video, we talked about calming the nervous system and how I think this is one of the most important things and plays a major role in a healthy digestion. And if you didn't see that video, please check it out. It's on the Facebook page and the Instagram page. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about yoga philosophy, really, and also some practical tips about how we can kindle the Agni. And I'll talk a bit more about what that is in a minute. I'm just going to have a sip of this really lovely turmeric and ginger tea that I have made. This is really good for the digestion, and it's also excellent at helping to ward off colds and flu. And you can probably tell I'm just at the end, the stuffy end of a cold at the moment, so this is perfect for me. It's lovely and warm and gingery and lemony, and the recipe is on my Facebook page and my Instagram page if you would like to make some of that. So I'm just going to take a sip of this. Yum, it's really good. Okay, so Agni. Agni is the Sanskrit word for fire. And this can be all different types of fire. So the sacred fire that they in India would have on an altar, the cooking fire that they would have in their kitchen, a real fire, the fire inside the sun, and also our digestive fire. Agni is also a very important metaphor within Indian philosophy for light. It means any kind of energy, any kind of knowledge or wisdom that comes in and dispels darkness. And it's so important within yoga philosophy that it was actually the very first word in the very oldest of the sacred texts, the Vedas. So it's the first word in the Rig Veda. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about Agni today, the digestive fire, and how we can help to support that. And I'm just talking a little bit about the importance of this in yoga philosophy. So it's so important. It was the first word in the Rig Veda, as I said. It's a little bit like in Genesis, where in 1:3, I think, it's let there be light. So it's light and fire and knowledge and wisdom, the most important principles. But what we're talking about today is obviously the type of Agni that is the fire in the belly, that helps us to break down and utilize our food. So within Ayurvedic medicine, all transformative processes in the body that change state from one thing to another are governed by Agni, the element of fire. So we're talking about the transformation, the digestion, the assimilation, the absorption and assimilation of food. Whoops, I've got a sound going on my computer. Sorry, I'm just going to turn that off. Okay, and the modern equivalent, I guess, of Agni is perhaps thinking about it as the enzymes and the acids that help to break down our food. So while I really love to draw correspondences between ancient wisdom and our modern understanding and science, it's not an exact correspondence, because within the ancient traditions, there's it's much broader. Agni is much more than just enzymes and acids. It's got a spiritual and a metaphorical meaning, which is great because it helps us to use both practical and energetic treatment strategies. So when Agni is weak and it's not really working very well in our body, we don't have much fire in our belly, we can't actually break down the food we're bringing in. We can't break down the food into its macronutrients, the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and we can't absorb the micronutrients, the vitamins, and the minerals. So even with a healthy diet, we're not getting the benefits of our food. I'm just going to have another sip of this lovely tea. I really encourage you to go and make some of this. So the recipe's on the Facebook page and the Instagram page if you need it. Really simple. So if we're not breaking our food down, if we're not burning it up, making it into energy and eliminating the waste products, what happens is that undigested food starts to build up, first in the digestive system and then spreading into other parts of the body, causing disease. So that's the Ayurvedic approach to the stages of disease. And this build-up of undigested food, which becomes so poisonous to the body, is known as ama. And again, in modern terms, we would see this perhaps like as a buildup of toxins in the body, and we might do a detox or a cleanse to try to clear that. And within Ayurveda, it's the same. You would do regular cleanses to clear the sludge out of the system. So, of course, the best way is not to get clogged up in the first place. So a simple example is, wouldn't you rather put a little sink strainer in your shower to catch all the hairs than have to call a plumber to clear out the pipes later when it all gets clogged up? So here are some simple tips for kindling the Agni, just like really getting that fire stoked up and working so that we can burn up our food efficiently, absorb it and assimilate it. So first of all, everything from the last video about mindful eating and calming the nervous system, and if you didn't catch that, you can go back and watch it on the Facebook page, on IGTV. Agni works best if we eat a diet of simple, light, and whole foods. So anything as close to its natural state as possible. Also, only eat when you're hungry. So eating when you're not hungry is really working against the Agni. It's not ready for food. And eat moderate amounts and space your meals well apart. So the second thing that we can do is to avoid anything that dampens the Agni. So this would be very cold drinks or food, especially in wintertime. Eating too many leftovers, eating when we're not really hungry, sleeping too much, drinking too much coffee, those types of things. So if you're just joining us, hello, and we're talking about some basic tips that we can do, simple things to kindle the Agni, our digestive fire, and help us digest our food more easily. So the third thing is that before we eat, it's a good idea to perhaps take a short walk to really get the digestion going, calm the nervous system. This can be the time when you do that deep breathing that we talked about yesterday. And it's also a really good way of discovering if you actually are really hungry or not. Maybe you just needed a glass of water or a little bit of fresh air. The other thing you can do is before your meal, about 20 minutes before your meal, you can have a glass of room temperature water with a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or the juice of half a lemon. And a lot of people do this and find it really, really helpful. So this helps to increase acid in the stomach. And it's also good for low blood sugar, for regulating blood sugar as well. If you don't want to do that, you can try bitters before your meal. So anything bitter really helps to stimulate the digestion and increase stomach acid. So you could, if you've got some wild rocket growing in your garden, you can go out and just grab a few leaves of that and munch that 15 minutes before your meal. Or you could buy a digestive bitters such as Swedish bitters and have a little bit of that in water before your meal. So we need an acid environment in the stomach to break down our food. And low stomach acid or hypochlorhydria is more common as we get older. And it can also come about as a result of stress, nutrient deficiency, certain medications. Also, if you have an autoimmune disease, thyroid disease, asthma, eczema, osteoporosis, a list of different conditions. These can also lead to a lower stomach acid. So a lot of people are actually eating when they haven't got enough acid in their stomach to help break down that food. So other things you can do is add more black pepper, ginger, turmeric and cayenne to your food, which all stimulate the digestion, which is hence this ginger and turmeric tea that I have suggested to you today. And again, the recipe's on the Facebook or Instagram page. And this is just a really simple tea with fresh ginger, and I've got fresh turmeric in today, but you can use dried. And I put a little bit of black pepper in because that really helps to activate the chemicals in the turmeric. But if you don't like it spicy, you could put a little pinch of cayenne also. Then it's got some lemon juice or lime juice, and you can sweeten it with either honey or stevia or brown rice syrup or brown sugar, whatever you like. So if your honey has got very many healthy properties, but if you're vegan and you don't want to eat honey, within Chinese medicine, they also regard an unprocessed brown sugar as having similar qualities and really good for us in the winter season. So next thing you want to do is when you're eating, chew really well. We talked about this in the last video. Carbohydrate metabolism starts in the mouth. So it's really important to chew your food down to small particles, small enough for the enzymes to be released and do their work. And finally, we want to support good elimination so that we can clear out all of that armor from the body. So drinking more water is always a good idea in winter. Warm water, room temperature or slightly warm water is best. And at least 2 to 3 liters a day. It can be water, it can be herbal tea. You can put cucumber, lemon, strawberries in your water, anything if you don't like just drinking plain water. And also eating a diet high in soluble and insoluble fiber, plenty of fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, lentils, and they'll all go a long way to keeping your digestion healthy. The last thing I want to talk about, though, those are some of the practical things and pretty easy things to bring into your life. It's just really, as I said yesterday, it's the things that you know that are going to work, but you're perhaps not already doing. So just remember that. But I was thinking about Agni and how we could stimulate it on an energetic level. So talking about the light, the wisdom, the knowledge, the energy coming in, let the light in, be open-minded, curious to learn new things, and receiving the opinions of others without judgment, and finding out what you can learn from the world around you. And then, just as with digestion and eating, give yourself the time to digest thoughts and emotions that arise within you or that you receive from the world around you. And again, just like the digestive system, you can apply a filter, filtering out what is not beneficial for you and letting it go, and storing and using what is good. Energetically, the qualities of Agni are hot and sharp, light, mobile, subtle, luminous, and clear. So cultivate these qualities in yourself, keeping your mind agile by learning new things, cleaning out the mental clutter through meditation and journaling or talking to a trusted friend, and looking to bring in more inspiring influences in your life. So thank you so much for joining me today. And remember that whenever I tell you about anything, that the guidelines I'm giving you are very general and may not be appropriate for all constitutions. So please always follow your own intuition about what works best for your body. And if you would like some personal guidance, please send me a message through Facebook or Instagram, and I'd love to have a chat with you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time to talk about eating right for your constitution. Bye.